Good morning, welcome to Furry and Spoilt. Today I'm going to talk to you about itchy dogs. So a year ago I posted a video talking about my experience with one of my dogs and hotspots and how bad it was and how I overcame it and the lifestyle that we now go on to lead to make sure that they never come back. I had absolutely no idea how bad this problem was worldwide, and I just cannot believe how many people contacted me with the problem. And so I've spent the last year having really in-depth conversations with you about your dogs and how to stop the itching. And I mean, they have been in-depth, back and forwards. And so I just want to share with you the things that we talked about, just so that you can maybe be able to help your dog if he's itchy. So the first thing is, now, so if you haven't watched, go to playlist. If you haven't watched my video, there's a whole playlist about hotspots. So if your dog is itchy and you think he's got hotspots, you need to go and watch that, because I'm not going to be going into that much detail in this. This is an overview of what I found out and some of the things that I found out that aren't in those videos. But if your dog's itchy and you've got hotspots, please go to playlist, hotspots, and it's all in there. So the first thing is grains in food and treats, just grains generally. They cause so many problems for dogs, and with my little Albert, who's down here, that is the thing that I have to keep him off. Grains, people who got their dogs off grains, so went to a grain-free food, didn't give any more tidbits like toast or biscuits or anything like that, and even their treats are grain-free. It was really lovely to hear, because so many of you contacted me and said your dog was miserable with itchiness, and that sorted it out. So that is the number one thing. Grains. Get them off grains. Again, I've done loads of videos about that. Get them off grains. That without question, look at Harry out there. That without question proved to be a really big success at stopping dogs being itchy. If a dog has got hot spots, then grains is definitely the thing. You need to get them off, because grains turn to sugar, sugar turns to inflammation, inflammation can turn to hot spots in some dogs. Now, not all dogs are affected by hot spots. My little Albert down here, he is the one who really does have he doesn't now, but he did have. If you go and listen to my story, I talked to you all about how they got over it. They're all very sleepy and very tired. In case anybody's wondering, the fur in between Humps's pads here, it's very long, but that's because he's a rescue dog from Korea and he's very, very nervous. And if anybody goes to groom him, he bites them. I'm making remarkable progress with him, but I haven't quite got to the point where I can get that fur out from between his pads, just in case anybody's thinking that's a bit too long. It is too long, I agree with you, and I'm working on it. But the other thing that has come up is hay fever. Some dogs, it wasn't a hotspot issue, it was a hay fever issue. And so they were taken off grains, but it still didn't stop the itching. And so it was hay fever. And actually 2 of my dogs suffer with hay fever, Harry at the back and Humps on the floor here. They do both suffer with hay fever. And so I use Piriton. In a minute, I'm going to take you to my drawer in the kitchen and I'll show you the Piriton I use. And that sorts it out, no problem. Now, my dogs don't get itchy with hay fever, and I think it's because they're on grain-free food, but they do sneeze a lot. And so that's always my sign that we're in hay fever season and that they need to go on the Piriton. They're not on the Piriton all year, just through the summer. But little Albert down here, because of his hot spot, I have him on Piriton all the time. And I'll talk to you about that a little bit more when I take you to my drawer in a minute. Now, another thing that came up were mites. Now, I personally have had this awful experience of harvest mites. So Albert, the little white one over there, he caught harvest mites one year, and I caught them off him. And my goodness, was I itchy. So that got so bad that I took him to the vets, because he was just so itchy, and I knew it was nothing to do with grains. I knew it wasn't hay fever, so I thought he must have mites. And I didn't really know. Wasn't sure. The creams just wasn't enough. Now, I'm not at all for putting dogs on steroids when they've got hot spots. I think vets just do it without looking at what they're eating. I'm really, really against steroids. But in this situation, it was all up his leg and it was driving him nuts, and it was red raw and it was just driving him crazy. And so the vet did a steroid spray on him, and that just cleaned up the mites. I mean, they're mites, you're not going to get away them. You're not going to get rid of them just with creams and stuff like that. You know, it does need something more urgent. And like I said, I caught them off him and I was so itchy. It was driving me nuts. And so mites can be something. So if you've tried the grains, it's not hay fever. Your dog could have mites. And one of the signs of mites is sometimes that the fur falls off really quite quickly and you just see the skin. And so that's something that came up. The other thing is insect bites. At the moment, 2 of my dogs have got insect bites. It's just that time of year. We were out yesterday morning and they were running through like a meadowy area. It was lovely, but 2 of them got bitten by some sort of insect. But the tea tree cream that I use, which I will show you again in a minute when I go to my drawer, the tea tree cream stopped it, just stops the itching straight away, sorts it all out, no problem at all. If your dog has got an insect bite and you've kind of lost control of it, I've done a video on that, and it's if there's a playlist, something about itchy dogs, stop your dog itching, something like that. Stop dogs itching, I think it's called. And in there is a video about insect bites, and I go into real depth, because when I was recording that, I had one with Harry that I was losing control of. It was so bad. And so I just talk you through what I did to get that sorted out. Now, something else that nobody's actually mentioned this to me, but I know personally it is something. Whenever I put the heating first on, or the air conditioning first goes on, for that first week, my boys are extra itchy. Now, not always all of them. And so when we probably about a month ago put the air conditioning units on, and Harry here's been fine, little Albert, my white dog's been fine, but Hump's here on the floor, he got really itchy. And so what I did was I upped his salmon oil, which I talk about in the hotspot video. I give my boys salmon oil every day, a spoonful of salmon oil, salmon. I just get tinned salmon, our human grade tinned salmon in the supermarket. Every morning they all got a teaspoon, and it just helps moisturise their skin. And I also give them coconut oil, because it's just so good for them. You do have to watch the fat content on those things and just make sure your dog's not getting too fat on them. But they're amazing at moisturising skin. And so I give them all salmon oil every day anyway. Salmon and its oil every day. But I just up that during the season. So it's normally just the first week of the heating going on or the air conditioning going on. Doesn't happen to them all, but just it got Humps. The air conditioning got him this time. It was just too dry for him. So be aware of that. That could be something else that's causing it. Right, welcome to my kitchen drawer where I'll keep all my dog stuff. I just want to show you a few things. So the Piriton that I talked about is just that. And it's just human Piriton. And if I remember rightly, they are 4 milligram tablets. I can't seem to get that to focus. They're 4 milligram tablets. And my dogs, they all are roughly around 10 kilograms each. I do know the exact weights, but on this you can, that's how it works. That they all have two. So at the moment they are all on 2 of these tablets a day because of the hay fever. And then when the summer is over, the ones that are on it for hay fever, I take them off it. But Albert, who is on it because he can get hot spots really easily, he is on it all year round, and they have 2 of those a day, and they're just human grade Piriton. Something you need to watch out for, there is a hay fever tablet called Pirites. That's toxic to dogs. And do not just give dogs any human hay fever tablet. They can be toxic. What I did was, we went to the vets with the hay fever situation. This was about 10 years ago. They put them on Piriton. They charge you an extortionate amount of money for each tablet. So I just went on to, I think we get these from eBay now. And I just ordered them, great big pot of them, last me all summer. Yeah, and that's just it. If you're not sure about the how much to give them, you could go to the vets. The vet will give you the amount, pay the vet for that prescription, and then you can just find out how much they need to take, and then just get them online yourself. So that's just Piriton. The other thing, honestly, I can't rave it. I'm forever raving about this stuff. I'm completely and totally in love with this stuff. I've been using this for about 10 years now, and I absolutely love it. Johnson's Tea Tree Cream. Now, it comes in a cream, which there is nothing on this earth. This stuff will not stop. I have used hotspots when Albert had them, like the insect bites we've just had, dry skin that Humps has suffered with a little bit with the air conditioning. It just sorts out everything. I put it on their paws every morning when we get back from a walk. It just stops them from getting dry. It's just so good. And what I love about this product, and this isn't sponsored, this is me, this is what I use. The thing I absolutely love about this product is that it also comes in a spray. So if for some reason it's your dog doesn't like you being touched, like with Humps, our rescue dog that we just got last year, there were still areas of him that he's not too happy about you touching, like around his back end and things like that. He's doing incredibly well, but he's still not great about it. And so if there was an area there, something there, like an insect bite or something, I could just spray him with this. And the other thing is, if they don't like the spray, because it doesn't smell great, and they can hear the spray, spray it into your hands and then rub it on them, and that works really, really well. I just love this product so much. However, there was a slight problem with it. And that slight problem is that in places in the world, you can't get hold of it, and particularly America. So I contacted the makers of the cream, and they said that they can't sell it in America because of licensing laws. Now, I'm slightly confused by that, because some of you have told me that you have managed to get it sent to you directly from Ireland. So it's made in Ireland. So that's obviously why I have such easy access to it, because I'm in the UK. So you can get it, and some of you have been able to get it, but some of you haven't been able to get it. Now, I know if that stuff stopped being produced, I would be in big trouble, because I've never found another cream like it. Now, I know it's the tea tree cream, the tea tree oil in the cream that does the wonders. It is vitally important that you do not use tea tree cream on your dog neat. It is very, very toxic to them, so don't do that. Right, little Albert here, I always get comments about why does he look so scruffy. It's just little Albert. I groom this boy every day. He's brushed, he's wiped down. He just looks like that. That's just what he looks like. Albert, Albert, Albert. Oh, he's engrossed. He just licks, he licks himself. He's a bichon, and they just get brown staining around their mouths and paws sometimes. Yeah, so the situation with the tea tree cream, let me tell you what I'm going to do. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out the exact amount of tea tree cream you can put into a product to use on a dog. Because I'm assuming, and I'll research all this and find out for you, but I'm assuming that if you could get a dog cream that didn't have tea tree oil in it, you could add the tea tree oil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to research it. I'm going to make some myself, test it on my dogs, make sure that I'm happy with it, and then I'll talk to you about it, because so many of you are struggling with the Johnson stuff to get hold of it, and it's just so wonderful. It's just so great. Now, the other thing is that I am assuming, because no one's talked to me about this, that you have found other creams around the world with the tea tree oil in it, but I don't know that. If you are using a dog cream with tea tree oil in it, especially if you're in America, can you please let me know? Can you please put it into comments, please? Because you would help so many people, because there are so many itchy dogs in America and they are struggling to get hold of the Johnson stuff. And so if there is a product that you're using that has worked, please put it into comments. But I will do some research, I will trial some things out, I'll do some testing, and then I will let you know. And just one quick thing is, the grain-free food, so many of you told me you couldn't afford to put your dogs on that. I use Barking Heads and Harringtons, and so many of you told me you just couldn't afford it. And it's expensive, I'll give you that. It's expensive. Big part of our budget goes on feeding our dogs. So what I did was I came up with a recipe that would cost you £1 a day to feed it would cost you £1 a day to feed a 10 kilogram dog, if you cook the food yourself from home. So it's as pure as pure. You know exactly what's in that. I researched the calcium requirements, nutritional requirements, and I came up with a cheap, healthy, grain-free dog food recipe. So I heard you with that. That was a big problem, and I heard you with that, and I came up with the recipe. Yeah, I've been feeding my dogs on it, and they're loving it, and it's all going great. So that is There's a playlist for feeding dogs. It's in there. I've got a feeling I might have also put it in the hotspot playlist just because it's associated. But if not, feeding dogs playlist, and it's in there. And if you know, grain-free food isn't something that you're able to afford, then that's really the answer. The other thing that you need to really think about with the grain-free food is that not all grain-free foods are equal. I did a whole video on it. But again, I've done understanding the ingredients in dog food. I like for the composition to really be no less than 50% meat or fish. And a lot of grain-free foods are cheap because they're like 12% meat. And you're just going to end up with a whole load of other problems if you've got your dog on a low protein diet. So that is another video that I would recommend that you go and watch. I'll put the playlist up in a minute. You'll get it coming up any minute for the hotspot videos. But I would highly recommend that you go and watch the feeding playlist, and also to understand the ingredients in dog food, the composition of dog food, so you can understand and make sure that even though you're feeding grain free, you're still feeding them good quality and you're not going to end up with other problems. So that's it. That's what I've learned so far. You know, as always, if I learn other stuff, I'll share it with you, and I'll get working on their tea tree cream situation and get that out to you as soon as I can. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.